Okay. Hi. So, I am honestly, it's a struggle that I'm always struggling with. You know, it's always going to be something that it's like, well, it's not always going to be. I'm going to be over it eventually, but something that's been warping my head is like confidence and how coming from like being a quiet insecure person for majority of my life in regards to my weight, my looks, my achievements, my position in society, like family, like there's a lot that I have been insecure about. Like everybody has insecurities and everything like that. Like it's a very normal experience, which is why I think I want to talk about it, because hopefully people can identify with it. And my confusion of, I have notes here, so if I'm looking over here, I'm having notes so I can try and structure my thoughts a little bit, because even though it is really great to speak in stream into consciousness, this I feel like has a lot of, is nuance the word? Like there's a lot of little bits that I just needed to find a structure to be able to talk in them properly. Otherwise I was just going all over the place. Anyway, yeah, I'm in a place of my life, pretty much, I'll just start with where I am, because I'm really good at talking about like my personal experiences. And I'm in a place in my life where I'm really happy, like most of the time. If I'm not trying to work through like trauma and there's not like shit coming up due to like shit coming up, me, the baseline as a person in like my sober state, which I'm not like super anxious or whatever, I'm pretty great. Like I'm pretty happy. Like I'm pretty content. And that feels amazing to say. But I'm running into like an issue with the expression of this, and like the expression of confidence, and also like, you know, the reason I'm so tied up about it is because it just always seems to come into conflict with humility, like my understanding of humility, like the societal understanding of humility, and like a lot of this is entangled with you know, like lingering insecurity about like perception and like the fear of being perceived as vain, and like a whole bunch of stuff. But I think I'm just gonna start talking about it because I need to get it out of my head. But yeah, oh that's right, because it's like trying to understand and trying to develop what like a healthy expression of like an ego or an identity and confidence with that identity is a really hard jump to make when you're coming from like extreme insecurity for like the majority of your life. Like I would say up until I was about 21 21 was when I started to develop like a more sound understanding and acceptance of myself. You know, like I wasn't just like absolutely, yeah, we don't need to go down that path. I think we all know what thoughts we have when we're insecure and not happy with our lives. But yeah, about like 2021 was probably the time where I was like, oh, okay, cool. But then began the struggle of insecure, vanity, and trying to find the middle. But when you're trying to find the middle feels like vanity. Like it's like that expression that you know, if you're someone who lacks boundaries, being assertive can feel aggressive, or like there's other examples of that kind of thing. It's like when you're coming from extreme insecurity, confidence can feel like vanity or like an unbalanced ego, like you're overdoing it, you know what I mean? And that's what I'm struggling with. Like that's what I'm really like, because it's hard, and it's a transition, and transition hard, and oh, okay, because like I haven't really seen many healthy expressions of an ego. Like I haven't really seen it in my family. I definitely haven't seen it in myself. I didn't really experience it going to school because I went to an all-girls high school, and what teenage girl healthy. I don't want to say that, but like, you know, like adolescence, that's really not the time where you're the most balanced in your head. Like, you're going through so much, you're trying to process so much, trying to figure out the world. It's the time when you're first beginning to express yourself. It's also sometimes the time where you're first confronting insecurity. So like, obviously none of those experiences were quite balanced, or like healthy. Not that they were unhealthy, but you know what I mean, balanced. And then there's this thing in like the online realm, which I'm very uncomfortable with, even though that sounds like a bit like, how are you so uncomfortable with being online when you're posting videos of yourself? And to that I say, I'm more comfortable with videos because at least you see everything, you know, like you hear my voice, you see like a 3D aspect of my body. It's not just angles. Yes, there's lighting. But I don't know, videos just seem more dynamic, and that's where I feel like I have a very dynamic expression. Like I have trouble finding comfortability or comfort. Oh my god, it's snowing. Comfort. Wow. Comfort in me being expressed correctly in a still image, which is why Instagram presents a lot of struggles with me. But it's not even just like Instagram, it's that like, you know, the baseline kind of societal norm expectation that I definitely used to fit into flow and like fit in flow with, which was that it's like it's become pretty okay and like normalized to like hate yourself, and self-deprecating humor has like definitely been on the rise in the past, like I want to say decade. You know, there's just the whole trend that like that comes with like mental health awareness, and like that whole, you know, like flipping the duality on that everyone has a perfect life and the highlight reel and blah 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 blah, like giving some humanity to that and being like, I hate myself, like it's okay to not be happy with yourself and blah 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 blah. Like, I understand why that's so necessary, and I understand why it's really good to put that more grounded reality behind highlight reels and like people looking amazing. And you know, like I understand like the duality of like thinking you're fucking hot as shit and then also like crying in your bed and being like, I hate myself, like, or like I'm not happy with my life, or I'm depressed and I don't know why. Like, I understand why it is important and why it is so good that we're expressing that the duality is important, that like life is polarizing at times and everything isn't always perfect and coherent, and it's not always easily understandable, but you may as well just embrace whatever situation you're in. I get it, and I understand, but there's also a point where it's, what are my dot points? Oh yeah, so I don't fit into that anymore. I don't identify with that duality anymore. I identify with a little bit more of that middle spectrum where I am genuinely happy with myself and I want to express that happiness, but I'm simultaneously feeling like a fraud because I'm not expressing, like just an example. Yeah, there might be like that post of like bad bitch energy, but like just broke up with my boyfriend, actually crying on the inside, or like whatever the fuck it is, the duality, the bad bitch duality with like awful mental health, you know, exterior into interior. I feel like I'm being somewhat caught up in this feeling of like fraudulent behavior or like a lie if I'm posting or I try to encapsulate happiness without there being like an undertone of irony or sarcasm or apathy or self-hate. Like, if for some reason I'm feeling like a really big like rift in an authentic expression of confidence and happiness because somehow it just doesn't feel like it's going to be accepted, if you know what I mean. And I think again, like it ties back to what I was saying before, like I don't think I've ever really seen a healthy expression of an ego or like confidence and stability without being like, the thing that I have been expressed to is that duality that, oh yeah, like when you post a pretty picture, like you shouldn't love yourself, or like you should love your appearance, but on the inside you'll probably be feeling another way. I don't know if this is making any sense, which is why I'm going to refer to my dot points again. Yeah, I feel like, yeah, I think it's just down to the polarity being more accepted than like a homogenous idea of, or expression of, like a balanced or a more balanced confidence. Do you know what I mean? Am I making any sense? Am I, like, this is why I had to write it down, because I'm trying to like do this the best that I can, but I just don't know if it's coming across in the right way. And I know that's also just like me being like people pleasy and being really insecure about like saying the wrong thing and upsetting someone or offending someone. That's definitely a feeling that's creeping through right now. Oh, I put a point on conflicting feelings. Amazing, Annabelle, good job. So the reason why I am feeling so conflicted and so confused is because I have so many facets of confusion. Like, I have so many feelings on this matter that surround this matter, I guess, that do conflict. Because on one hand, I'm really happy with myself, and I want to express, you know, if I want to express my beauty, even though that might be like pretty shallow, or it is just like the surface level stuff. Like, if I do feel really pretty one day, I wanna post a selfie. That sounds really like meek, but you know, like, if I want to do that, I should be okay with wanting to do that. But for some reason, there's this voice in my head that's just fighting the acceptance of that being normal. Because like, truly, like, I go to post it, and then it's like, you know, like, is this imposter syndrome? Is this what this is? Like, there's that voice in my head that's kind of just like, well, that idea, or that thing that I'm scared of, the anxiety that's just like, what, you want people to know that you think you're pretty? Like, do people, like there's like a questioning of the authenticity of like, oh, like, you're posting this and you actually feel good about yourself? Like, what is this? And I know that's anxiety, and I know that's like a voice for me to overcome, and I know that a lot of this stuff is stuff for me to have to battle and fight back, but there's also like the aspect of it that it is that I feel weird about no longer fitting into that accepted norm. I feel weird that, you know, that I feel okay about myself when I want to express it, because like, it's unfortunate, but I've experienced like rejection from my peers for having that, and not like outright like, oh, like, you're fucking like up yourself, like, but me trying to express like positive self-talk or positive conceptualization or like advocacy of myself, and I've been met with like, oh, that's like great for you, but I don't understand it. And I know why people reacted that way, but again, rejection sensitivity, I took it really personally, and it's like, I can't get over it. Like, not only is it like an anxiety and a fear in my head that I'll be taken that way, and that someone would look at me that way and be like, oh, like, great for you, but like, this does nothing for me. But it's been said to me before, and that really gets to me, you know? And I know that's just a result of like the whole idea of like your light bringing out other people's insecurities, and like, if somebody sees you confident, it triggers their insecurity that they don't have that confidence, or, you know what I mean? Like, I know that there's that existing in society, which is why people react that way, but it's almost as if my awareness of that, and like, because I know that if I'm confident and if I express confidence, that there will be people that are triggered by that, and I don't know who these people are, but like, I also don't know who these people aren't, and so there's like an element that it's also out of my control, and that I am like a huge control freak in terms of being a fucking Virgo, and so it's like, I just crumple myself into this anxiety of like, okay, well, if you express your confidence, then you're gonna trigger other people, and they'll be upset and hate you. that's not my problem, is it? See, sometimes I just need to talk about these things. Sometimes I just need to talk these things through. But I feel like someone will get it, right? Like, I'm not crazy. Crazy. No, I am, but in a good way. And it's always a good way, baby. See, even in my head, I'm like, no, it's not Annabelle. Mental health is a serious thing. You shouldn't refer to her as crazy, blah, 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 blah. And I know, I know. Yeah. I guess I'm just stuck, and I'm gonna say the things that I said before at the beginning of the video, because I feel like I'm in this place that no longer fits into that niche of society, except like, especially like people my age. I think we're growing out of it. Like, I do think we're slowly coming out of it, and I'm really grateful that I'm currently living in a place that it's more embodied and it's more embraced, that like you love yourself and you be authentic about it. And I think that's why this polarity is like pushing against me even more, because I'm finding the people that I identify with and that are like me, and that, you know, have these healthy expressions and acceptance of themselves, and like not only like an acceptance of the ego, but an embracing and like a nurturing of one. And I feel myself like there's two worlds, right? There's two worlds, and I'm coming from this one that's more of like the polarized, look fucking sexy on the outside, because you kind of want to compromise for the lack inside, and that's kind of the norm, into this world where it's like, no, like, work through those insecurities, like, accept yourself, love yourself, don't completely have no ego, because that's not healthy. You have to learn how to nurture your ego and be kind to yourself. And like, that's where I feel like for a time I was like, I was in this world, and so I was having a lot of trouble, and I'm like trying to stretch out into this one, but there's like still like the lingering like conditioning of this world that's like in my head. And so I'm in between the two, and it's just a transition, and it's really uncomfortable, you know? And I think it'll take time. It's time, and it's like me, it takes time, and it takes me having to just constantly reinforce this thing of, okay, like the snap realization I just had, like, okay, I want to share myself. I want to share my light. I want to share my happiness and my like, myself, especially with just my friends. Like, I just want to share it with my friends. With like the 60 people that I have on Instagram that are all people that know me in real life, that are like, I love. And I don't know why I have the anxiety around that group of people, because I shouldn't, but I think it's just the societal stuff that goes in my head. You know, like, I want to just share myself there, like, authentically, and I need to keep on reinforcing a thing of just like, okay, it is kind of just something you have to accept, that your light will trigger other people. Confidence is something that triggers the insecure. You know, if you shine really bright, the darkness is going to come out in other people, and it's going to bring it up for them to confront. And it's really hard to confront your insecurities, and it's really hard to turn inward and to realize, oh, this is something that I have to take responsibility, like, these are ugly thoughts and ugly feelings that I have to take responsibility for, and I have to work through. And it's so much easier to just be triggered by someone and then project your insecurities onto them, because I know that I've done it. Like, I know that, like, that's how, like, you know, like, I know that I've done it. I know that, and I'm able to at least be in a place now that when I feel people triggering me, like, I know it's me, and it's a thing of growth that I have to face. And that's what everyone has to do. That is what everyone has to do. It's what everyone has to do. And moving outside of the norm of society is actually, it's scary, but it's also not as big of a deal as I think it is, because I'm no longer in society. I'm no longer in society. I'm in, like, my little safety network of people that are like-minded and who are accepting of me and accepting of my thoughts and the way that I want to embrace myself. I'd have to keep reinforcing these things. Yeah. Oh, and that's the other thing. Because humility, I guess, is what this all like centers around. Like, I guess the value, because I guess confidence a value? It's like a attribute, isn't it? But humility is what kind of surrounds all of this. And I felt like the concept of humility, or there was an idea of humility and like humbleness in like, you know, being able to have this really like hot or really beautiful or really gorgeous or really cute or whatever your aesthetic is on the outside, being able to have that, but because you hated yourself on the inside, or because you have so many insecurities on the inside and you express them, that was like the new idea of humility. Maybe that's just my own construction in my head. Like, maybe that's all me, but I don't know. Like, I guess that kind of ties into the whole like jumping thing, because that was like this distorted idea of humility that I had in my head that made me think that when I was coming to the neutral middle, because I wasn't expressing all these doubts and all these insecurities, while having like a confident exterior, that wasn't humble, that was vain. And I was like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, my idea of humility is completely skewed, and like, what do I do about this? Okay, it turns out just reinforcing. Turns out reinforce, have your own back. Yeah, okay, cool, I can do that. Do I post this? I feel like I say that at least once between filming of everything. Do I post that? Yeah. Right. Sure. You know what? Someone's probably going through the exact same thing. Someone probably has really similar thoughts to you, and they're going through the exact same thing. And you know how great it is to like not feel alone about it? It feels really great. It feels really great. It feels really good. It feels really good not to feel alone. Now, drink the rest of your hot chocolate and upload the video. Let's do it. Okay, that was wow. But yeah, so hopefully that made sense. If it did, sick. Point landed. At least on 3 out of 4 legs. Let's hope. That's all it takes. It's all good. It could even land in 1 leg. That's okay. That's all. Endings. Cheers. What?